Seth Godin recently said the internet is a great place for discovery, but it is not a place where you will get discovered. And whether you're building your community, whether you're trying to increase your following, your sales or your influence, it's really easy to fall into that get discovered trap or the transmit mindset. If you put enough stuff out there, some of it's going to land. People will get to know about you, what you do, and then they'll buy your stuff, and then they'll come to your event, then they'll download your freebie, etc, etc, etc. One of the challenges with this approach is that everyone else is out there doing that too. That means there's a lot of noise, and depending on your craft or your industry, it's a potentially really overcrowded marketplace. Now, online marketing does work, of course, with the right strategy and usually a fair amount of upfront hard work over quite a long period of time. The thing is, what worked a couple of years ago doesn't work now. Not just because social media algorithms change, not because email deliverability is tougher, but because people are becoming tired of the hustle. Their defences are up, they're looking for the sell, and they're not engaging with your content. You might well be questioning my authenticity right now as I talk about this. Why am I bothering if I don't believe in just transmitting? Well, it's a fair question. I believe people use the internet for 3 reasons, and this is my opinion, by the way. It's not evidenced, well, not yet anyway. The reasons are for entertainment, to buy stuff, and for information. However, they stay online for a 4th very critical purpose, and that's to feel connected. Whether you're watching events on the news unfold, whether you're chatting to friends, whether you're sending work stuff, whether you're playing games, connection or feeling part of something is a key motivator for being online. This connectedness is one of the most strived for human needs. When you look to show up online, when you want to build your community, when you're sharing your great stuff, connection is where you start. The easiest way to get connected is to listen, to understand, to meet people where they are. Then you can build rapport and a relationship, and eventually you can take them on a journey with you. First, unless we're talking about commodity or quick fix, most people need to feel that they are significant, that they belong in your world. This doesn't matter what you're selling, by the way. This is about community. Communities, clubs, social events do this sort of thing too. They create a place where people belong. Look at Booking.com or Airbnb, for example. You're encouraged to be part of the club, to build a profile, to talk about your experience. You even get rated as a customer, for goodness sake, as well as you rating their accommodation. Why? Because this builds connection. People become invested in the site. I was recently away in a camper van, and yes, there's another example of community. I was needing to find a campsite late at night out of season. So what did? I reached for my phone and hopped on the internet. Sure enough, there was a website that exists for last-minute freedom seekers like me. It's called pitchup.com. It promptly found me a place to park my van for the night about 10 minutes away from where I was. Now, to some extent, that's the commodity bit ticked. I'd had my immediate problem solved. I was no longer looking at a very windy night on a cliff top or in a lay-by. Where the website really won through, though, was in its communication. Within a few minutes of booking the site, the owner rang me, asked when I'd be arriving and said she'd look out for me. I felt like we mattered. We arrived, we got shown to our pitch, we had a joke about pop-up roofs and wind, and we felt like we belonged, even though actually I'm a complete newbie in the campervan world. Now today, I recommended pitchup.com to a friend who was hiring a campervan for the first time because I'd had a good experience. I use the campervan experience because it's a very simple example of how to build your business connection. Although the moving parts might be complex, lots of campsite owners undoubtedly all offering different services, different standards, one aim: make finding a place to stay a doddle. People might join the club because it solves a problem. They stay in the club because it gives them a feeling of being part of something. The first can be delivered solely by a website. The second is the individual campsite owner, whether they make a connection, and this bit is the bit that validates what the website does, and this bit is what makes you part of the club. Campervans remind me of Bravefest last year. A few people came in their own campervans, and it meant that they could stay on site. They could be part of the Bravefest community. Several of us stayed up into the early hours sharing stories around the campfire. And you know, it's those people, those who got really the most involved, who were the first to reserve their spaces for Bravefest this year. Our online marketing got them there in the first place, but the sense of connection is bringing them back this September. If you're using the internet to deepen your business connection, and you should be, think about how you're using it. Whether it's social media, blogging, using sales pages, you need to connect in order to engage. Essentially, you need to be able to address one of the reasons that people go online in the first place. You need to entertain them, inform them, or sell to them. This is the start of their journey with you. And for most of us, our first encounter is one of the first two. It's entertain or inform. This gives you the opportunity to do the subsequent, more valuable community building. Once you've started to build the connection through this interaction, through involvement and trust, then you can start to form your own club. Then you can start to sell. Discovery implies some random lucky act. Building a business isn't like that, especially if you're building an online presence. Building a business requires you to really get connected, to possibly hustle less and listen more, and give people a reason to stay part of your business world. Remember, entertain or inform people, ideally both. Make them feel like they belong in your community. And if you'd like to be part of the Brave Virtual Co-work community, we'll aim to inform and entertain, and we hope you'll do the same.